Hey guys, Jonathan here, and today we're taking a look at one of the most legendary LEGO Batman sets ever, Arkham Asylum from 2006. This was the first ever LEGO Arkham Asylum, in a lot of people's minds, one of the most nostalgic sets from the original wave of Batman sets, and of course offered some incredible first ever minifigs and exclusive ones, which to this day still rock. I'm so excited to finally offer this to review here on the channel. It's one of the rarest LEGO Batman sets ever. In fact, it's worth about $800 or more sealed on today's market, which is pretty amazing. Not to mention, back in the day, it only retailed for $80 in 2006, which would be $128 today under, inflation and all that. And even used, this set goes for well over 550 bucks, which is wild. It had 860 pieces, and like I said, 7 minifigs, 4 of which are exclusive. So let's start taking a closer look at everything and breaking it all down. Now, I don't always show the boxes, but when it's something this old and historic, I think it is fun to show. The box is actually embossed. It's really kind of hard to get on camera, but as I move it, you can see that it's reflective, and everything is kind of like raised there. Of course, we've got the amazing minifig display up top. Around back, we've got all the awesome features, which of course we'll look at throughout this set, and of course a little comic book telling the story of everything that goes on in this set, and an advertisement for all of the other 2006 LEGO Batman sets. Then the box also opens up to reveal that it opens that way, and overall this is just an incredible piece to have with the box. And the set had 2 instruction books. Again, I don't always show the instructions, but in unique circumstances like this, I think it's worth it. On the back of one instruction book, we've got beautiful artwork of the set, and on the other, an advertisement for the 2006 UCS Batmobile, which was so cool. And then, of course, when we open it up, you can see that the instructions were basically like digital renders, and it was always interesting because like the blacks and grays really blended in together and didn't always look great. In this book, they actually look pretty good, all things considered. But as we go to the last page, you can see the piece count and a beautiful double-page artwork of all the other 2006 first wave LEGO Batman sets, which is so cool. And we also have that comic book from the back of the box reprinted here, which is so sweet. Of course, we've got the other villains being hinted to with their silhouettes in the background. Really awesome stuff. Go ahead and show you a couple more of these digital renders. Wow, that is so cool, man. And we'll get into the set now. So for minifigures, we got 2 exclusive guard figures for Arkham, and the thing that's exclusive about them is the combination of pieces. I believe that every single piece on its own actually did come in other sets, but of course, you only got them in this combination in this set, which makes them exclusive, but not impossible to replicate. That being said, I really like these. Of course, the face prints and even the level of detail on the torso are very reminiscent of what LEGO was doing in 2006, just like with the shading and the belt there, and just the print quality and everything. Of course, no printing on the back. That was exceptionally rare at this point in time for LEGO, and really wouldn't become more popular for another couple years after this. But it's great to have some guards at Arkham so that your play stories would be able to have somebody working to hold down the fort. The Batman minifigure included here is the black and gold color scheme. By today's standards, an absolute legendary minifig. Of course, he has the original style cowl, which is a lot thicker than the 2012 cowl when the Batman sets came back. As you can see, the ears are very thick. It's a lot more square than rounded in most ways. And when we lift that cowl up, you can see he had a white headband around his eyes, or I should say around his forehead, so that when you put the cowl on, you see the white of his eyes, which is quite cool. The torso detail is minimalistic, but great for its time. I love the reflectiveness of the gold as we move it in the light, and overall, this is just such a phenomenal minifig that has aged so well. The Riddler minifig here was the first one LEGO ever made, and in fact, this minifig only came in one other set, and that set was the Bat Tank from the following year, 2007, which is exceedingly rare. So for all intents and purposes, if you had the Riddler back in the day, you probably got it from this Arkham Asylum set. He had a great torso print with the shading on his abs, loved that purple mask, and of course he has that classic old style of hair, which is pretty funny all these years later. Like, now we basically only get the Riddler with a bowler cap on, but back then it looked really great, and I think it's an awesome representation, and and now, with the benefit of hindsight, makes him super, super nostalgic from the old LEGO Batman video game. Much like the Riddler, this minifigure of Scarecrow was the first Scarecrow minifig ever made, and he only appeared in one other set, also from the following year in 2007, and both of those 2007 LEGO Batman sets had very limited distribution, so chances are good if you had this minifigure as well, you probably got it from Arkham, although it could have come from the Scarecrow biplane set with the Batman helicopter. That being said, the head is glow in the dark. You can kind of see it under my studio lights here. It's a really great minifig with that old witch style hat, and of course a great torso, which with no surprise has no printing on the back of the torso, but it's super detailed and comic booky on the front, and he has a very simple but efficient scythe build, which is really awesome, using only 4 pieces to make up the build. Poison Ivy from this set was also exclusive and is such a great minifig all these years later. Of course, she had that great long red hair piece in the old style of long red hair, which LEGO hasn't made in, well, probably since this set, to be honest with you. Then, of course, the head is really great with the green lips and the red eyebrows, excuse me. She actually has a little bit of green eyeshadow around her eyes, too, which is cool. And then, of course, she's got that great leafy torso, which makes for an awesome representation in LEGO to translate Poison Ivy into LEGO form. And then for the undisputed MVP of this set, we have Nightwing. Now, this was the only classic LEGO Batman set that had Nightwing in it, so of course he was exclusive to this set. He used a really cool rubbery hairpiece, like from Exoforce, which is pretty unique. And of course, when we move it around, you can see no printing on the back of the head or the torso, but he does have those nice blue arms, which really adds a lot of color contrast with the front of the torso, making for an amazing minifig all around. And he's got those blue lightsaber pieces for batons, but even without those, he is such a great minifig and one of the absolute highlights of this set. So our smallest build here is Nightwing's small little motorcycle with a Nightwing logo sticker on the front. It's a very simple build, not many pieces involved, but it's really cool how his batons are in the back, and overall, very emblematic of the era from which it came, but a really nice inclusion nonetheless. Now we have the Arkham Patient Transport Ambulance. I really like that they put the ambulance backwards, because like in real life, you know, if you see in your car mirror, it'll be backwards, so that's kind of cool. Then, of course, we have the Arkham Asylum stickers on the side, and this set breaks a lot of modern LEGO rules in that LEGO would never put one sticker over 2 pieces, but they did that at least twice in this set, which is actually kind of funny. Of course, we can open up the back doors here. Little easier said than done, but the doors do open up and you could pull out this stretcher. In fact, the entire roof opens up, so you could put a driver minifig up front, or you could load the stretcher in this way, but it is pretty cool to be able to load it in with the roof on. And the stretcher is great because you could actually fit a minifigure in there to constrain them for their transport into Arkham. And then it just slides back in like this, the doors close, and you drive off. So then we drive up to the gates of Arkham, where we have a security camera here, and of course we have some nice plant life along the side. Once again, we have a sticker that goes across 2 LEGO pieces. That would be a big no-no from LEGO today, but the gates open up. They're actually a little bit tight. They're actually a little hard to open, but of course the vehicle can fit right through the gates and drive into Arkham like that. Then we can reclose the gates and head into the asylum. To be honest with you, the only thing I don't like about this set is the little Batman flyer here. Of course, the wings are posable and you can move them side to side and all that. You have to remove Batman's cape so that he can hold on to this here. And of course, it twirls around and flies. It's definitely cool, and, you know, what LEGO was doing at the time, like, this feels straight out of the video game in a lot of ways with its design and practicality and all that. But to me, it's just not all that exciting. It feels like something that would come in one of those European magazines on today's market, but not bad at all. And of course, it has this little piece here, so you can stick it to the various poles that are over top the buildings we'll look at in just a moment, so you could have Batman flying over the scene. It's not a bad build, it's just my least favorite thing here, as mentioned. Now, the first side build is the Watchtower. Of course, we can fold up the ladder here so the bad guys can't climb up there, but it does make for a nice narrative that your figures can climb up there. There's a little clip if you wanted to put their gun up there while they're watching over guard. Then, of course, we can move the spotlight up and down and side to side, and it makes for a really, really cool side inclusion, and it's very industrial the way it's built with, like, you know, these large pole pieces here, 3 of them to support it. Very simple, but a very cool build nonetheless. this. The smallest build here is the containment unit for the Riddler. We can remove this lock piece up top, and then we can see the question marks that are in the bottom, and we can take the Riddler out of the stretcher over here. I had him in there from before, and then of course you could place him right here where he can be thinking up all his next dastardly riddles. Then of course we can lock this up and flip it around to see the backside, which of course has some storage for the guns up top. Lots of guns in this set. That would never happen in LEGO DC today, but up top we have a satellite as well as a bat there, which make for some very cool scenery additions, and of course this printed piece for the rooftop slide, which we'll see on another building here in just a moment, is incredibly cool. The medium-sized building houses two more villains. I really like this giant roof piece here. Not something I can imagine LEGO would do today, but as we move down to the ground floor, you can see we have a containment unit for Poison Ivy. Just like the Riddler, we can remove that lock and see she actually has a lot of space in there, surrounded by her beloved plants, and then the lock can go back on. There are stickers on both sides with like Venus flytraps. Very cartoony, but very fun at the same time. And up top, we can open this door and actually pop out this entire wall to make room for the Scarecrow. I really like that they put a bunch of hay in there so that he'll feel right at home. Then of course we could close this back up and close the door. There's a little rat hanging out up top, and we have a play feature where when we push this Scarecrow skull out front, it actually pushes the whole wall out for Scarecrow to make his big escape. And here we have the main facility for Arkham. Now, of course, we'll go ahead and start down on the ground floor where we have a maximum security door up front. It actually is a little bit difficult to open, so what I've always done is use the Scarecrow scythe to kind of help open it, but we do have a nice sticker there, and once we get inside, you can see that there's actually a gate there for security. So when we turn the whole building around to the side, we've got a security officer there who can press his buttons on the computer to open that gate and let you in or keep you from getting out. Now, moving up a floor, I always love this. We have containment cells for the other bad guys from other sets. Of course, those being the Joker, Two-Face, and the Penguin. And then we can pull this in, and it actually opens all three doors in unison. So, you know, it's really cool that we can open and close that. And if you had the other sets back in the day, you could put the bad guys in there. Also, on LEGO's part, it's actually genius marketing to do this, because then if you got this as a kid, you would want to get all the other sets to put the bad guys in there. So, once again, very genius marketing. Another kind of funny thing, if you open it and look, you could see that this 1x2 piece where all of the Technic pieces connect would have a hole in it. So LEGO is literally telling you to put a sticker over a hole on a piece. Again, just kind of funny. Things like that would absolutely never happen today. Moving up to the third and final floor, they did a really good job utilizing their space here with kind of like a laboratory or an examining room. Of course, we could move this piece out. I just had some tools in there. There's like a stretcher bed there for operations and things like that. And when we move it around front, there's a secret hatch up front that holds this rope so the bad guys could drop their way out and escape, which was very cool. And with that, we've basically looked at every detail of this set. Alright guys, let me know if you had this set back in the day. Be sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for all the latest on LEGO Batman, LEGO Superheroes, and everything else here on the channel.